Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. We are going to be talking about VoIP and determining really whether it's right for you. We want to make sure that you're finding the right phone solution, and this is just going to be additional information. I am Lisa Brown, and as usual, we try to do these Wednesday webinars to provide you with education on the different things relating to tech. And this one in particular is going to be talking about VoIP. Okay, so let me get started. As you know, these are 30-minute webinars, so we do try to keep them very short and sweet. We understand your time is valuable. Most of you know who I am on the call today. We have been in business 23 plus years. We are headquartered in the Adirondack Mountains of New York, but we also have an office in Southwest Florida, and there's the rest of the credentials. Please visit our website. It has some great content on the website. You can learn all about us. I am being joined today by Sarah and Jessica. They are part of my team. They are kind of watching the Q&A, so please don't hesitate to ask questions. I know we've been getting a ton of responses with regards to this webinar, so thank you for joining us. And just feel free to chit chat with them. They are watching that Q&A for me. All right, so today we are going to be talking about VoIP, and I'm going to explain what it is. I think there's a misconception about what it is, and we're going to try to clarify that for you today. We're going to give you some information on why you should consider VoIP, or if you should consider it. Sometimes I'm going to say no. What would be required for your office to convert to a VoIP solution? That's going to be super important for you. How reliable is it? And of course, at the very end, we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about how much it is and whether or not we can save you money. Okay, so that is what we're going to be talking about on the agenda today. All right, guys. So what is VoIP? All right, so overall, VoIP stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. It's a technology that allows you to make phone calls over an internet connection. Okay, it functions by taking an analog signal and converting it to a digital voice signal that is sent via your internet service provider. Okay. All right. Now, traditional phone systems kind of work on a network of copper wires and switching. It's a little antiquated. It requires a lot of back end wiring stuff, and you've got to make sure that you are wiring your building for RJ11 connections. So it's a little antiquated. Plus, in today's world where many of us are working remote, and we have staff that are working remote, it's just a little bit more complicated, right? It's a little bit more complicated to get them a standard traditional telephone system. So ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you, if you are able to convert to a VoIP solution, we're trying to give you the information so that you know whether or not that's going to be a solution that will work for you. Okay. Okay, so why consider a VoIP solution? So I will be honest in saying I'm not one to sell just for the sake of selling. That is not who we are as a company. So I'm going to give you kind of 4 reasons as to why you would want to consider a VoIP solution. Okay. One is cost. Normally, a VoIP solution is a cheaper solution. Okay. Which means I could potentially save you money. And that's significant right in this day and age. Okay. It also gives you the ability to grow. So it doesn't pigeonhole you into a solution that's not going to grow with you. Okay. The other is hardware. It's minimal. Honestly, most of you will already have the necessary equipment to implement a VoIP solution. And I'm going to be talking about the hardware aspect. Okay, so those are the top 2. The other one is flexibility. I will be honest in saying CST has been in a VoIP solution for many years now. And you all came to me as clients and said, hey, I need a better solution for my phones. It was not something I could provide to you in the future. The team has done incredible work on finding a provider that will offer the same level of service that we offer, and therefore we're gonna offer that to you now. So the flexibility is amazing. We appreciate that, and then features. So we have found that some of your solutions currently really don't give you the features that you're looking for. You want to be able to have an auto attendant. Some of you have that, some of you don't. You want to be able to conference calls, get more than one person on the call. You want to call record so that we can go back and reference calls. And some of you just want the flexibility of being able to have phones geographically in different areas. Okay. So the features are going to be incredibly important for some of you, where a traditional phone system won't offer you those features. Okay. All right. So what is required? All right. Statistically, the most important part of a VoIP solution is your internet connection. So who is providing you with internet currently? Okay. Now, it's not just about the connection. It has to be a stable connection. It has to be one with the appropriate speeds to be able to manage your VoIP phones as well as your systems, right? Your data transfers with internet connectivity. So that is the number one thing you have to have. Now, luckily, you all have that already, right? You all have a stable internet connection for the most part. I would never recommend a VoIP solution if you are on any type of satellite connection. I would say that's not stable enough. So if you are using a satellite connection, I would say that a VoIP solution is not something you should transition into. But for the most part, if you are a company, you have a stable internet connection. Okay. All right. Now, with that, you should also already have in place a router or a switch. Basically, that's just extending out the jacks from your internet provider, and you already have those in place for most of you. Okay. So we may make some recommendations on growing your switches, making them larger to accommodate both your computers and your phones. But that is only after we evaluate your individual systems. Okay. And then the other thing is a VoIP phone. All right. Now, I will be honest in saying that is a picture of the VoIP phone that we are going to be selling. And you will need to purchase the phones if in fact you want them. Now, notice in parentheses, I say may be preferred, but not required. Okay. So I am old school and I like to have a physical phone that sits on my desk. It's just me and who I am. However, I have staff that really don't need a physical phone. They prefer not to have it because they can either use the desktop app. So there is an app that you can install on the computer that it ultimately is the phone. And it gives you all of the features of the phone, and you would use your mic of your phone, a headset, which all of our staff here have. So we are going to be offering one version of a Yealink phone, and then we're going to be available to purchase the headsets. Okay, so ideally, you can either skip the phone altogether and save yourself money of the cost, or you can have the desktop app or the mobile app. So if you have remote workers, they can always use the app on their mobile phone. Okay. So ultimately, those are the three things that are required in order for you to have a VoIP solution. Okay. Now we are working with one of our clients that actually purchased their VoIP phones years ago. They had a vendor come in and pulled them out, put them back on an old system, not understanding kind of what value they had there. So we're going to use their existing phones. We're going to put those back into play, so that some of you may already have a VoIP solution and you just want us. If that is the case, and you own the phones, you're not leasing the phones, then we would be able to use your existing phones. Okay. All right. So how reliable is it? And I will tell you, it's as reliable as your internet connection. So as long as you have internet, then your phones will be reliable. And that's it in a nutshell. Some companies have come to us and have said, look, it is echoey, right? Or it drops calls. That really is a configuration issue. It means your current provider really hasn't configured them correctly. If in fact you're on a stable internet connection and you're still getting that echo or your drops, that doesn't happen with us just because we are all about the configuration side. We get to control it. So it's not something that that you would have to worry about because you get us when you buy our system. So reliability, we've been using our system for months now, and we are incredibly happy with it. If you were to talk to any of my team, they will tell you that the advantages to this phone system has really been exponential to what we had. So ultimately, reliable internet is the most important. Okay. All right. So why consider a switch? Ultimately, there's two things. It's the cost. So obviously I would like to save you money. So it could be a cost saving for you. And then the features. Okay. I would never make a recommendation for you to switch to another provider across the board, whether it's your VoIP or something else, unless there was some value to it, right? I mean, you've got to see value. Either we can save you money or we can provide you with features that are beneficial for you. Okay. And we can grow this system out, which is what's even better for us is I feel like we can give you options as your company grows. Okay. I love the savings. That's what I love. All right. So the cost, ultimately, what we would want to do is we'd want to evaluate your current system. And that ultimately is just us providing you, you providing us with your current bill. Okay. So I would want to take a look at your current phone bill and internet bill. Okay. I want to know what you're paying now. And I want to know what your internet speeds are. And I want to make sure that you have the foundation to be able to handle a VoIP solution. Okay. So ultimately, if you are interested, send me a copy of your current phone bill and internet bill. I need to see them. Okay. CST's VoIP solution is approximately $25 per month per user. Okay. So that's an approximate cost. I think there's a couple of add-ons that we can do, and it's rounding out about $26.99. So $25 to $27 per month per user. Okay. Now, ideally, I understand that for most of you, well, for ultimately everybody I've spoken to about this in the last couple of years have said really they just want a basic phone system. Y'all want it to ring. You want to be able to pick it up. You want to be able to put people on hold. You want to be able to transfer. But for the most part, y'all don't need stuff that is super fancy, right? You just want to be able to have the basics of a phone system. This absolutely gives you that. It is super easy. It does give us the ability to also grow out some of those other things as you guys grow. Okay. So ultimately the cost, depending on what you're paying now, would be for most of you a savings. Okay. So just take a look. We need to take a look at what your existing bill is. Okay. All right. So a summary is I need to determine your why. So why are you looking at another solution? Why I need to know what those reasons are to ensure that our solution is going to fix those. Okay. We would like to evaluate your current phone costs, and that also includes your internet costs. I want to take a look at them. I want to make sure your speeds are up to par of what we would need for making sure your phone system is going to work correctly. Okay. And then if you can just consider the advantages, like what specifically would you like to see happen? What is not happening currently with your phone system? Are you able to transfer calls? Do you have remote workers and you want it easier for them to be able to pick up the phone as it rings? So consider some of the advantages that we would be able to provide you with a VoIP solution. Okay. Now, if you want more information, there is our New York phone number. You can always shoot me an email. My email address is there. If you are considering it, please send me those bills so that we can at least have a conversation about it so that I can determine whether or not it's a good solution for you. Okay. So please just keep me posted with it with an email. Now we do have additional webinars, and I do want to say something. So for those that are on the call, please make sure that you can see emails from me. Because what we are finding is that some of you are opting out. Now, if you are feeling like you're getting a lot of emails from us, and that is kind of making you a little crazy, and I get it. Nobody in this place gets it better than me. I get a ton of stuff that I just delete, delete, delete. But please don't opt out of receiving emails from me. I need you to be able to get important emails. So obviously the VoIP solution is today. In April, only clients are going to be invited to our webinar. If you're a client, that's why it's so important that I need you to be able to get emails from me. This is an important webinar. I talk to you about changes. I talk to you about features. I talk to you about things that my tech team needs you to know. So that is an important yearly webinar. So please make sure that you're getting my emails. Okay. And remember, we do try to keep this very short. We keep these webinars short just because I know how important your time is. So it's not like I'm making you sit through an hour webinar. Okay. All right. So we always allot for questions at the end. We are about 16 minutes in, so we do have a little bit of time. So I know Sarah is on the call. I know Jess is on the call. So Sarah, do we have any questions in the Q&A?
We have one question. If we considered a VoIP solution, could you better explain the hardware requirements and what would the cost of that be?
Yes, of course. So ideally, the hardware requirements are minimal. Most of you already have what we would need to deploy a VoIP solution. All right, now there's one thing that I do want to point out to you. Obviously, your internet connection, all of you have that, or you wouldn't be watching this webinar. So you have a solid internet connection. I would like to research the speed of that, because some of you may have to upgrade your internet connection speed. So I want to address that individually, right? So if you are at all interested, please just reach out so I can evaluate your current bill. Okay. Now, the other thing that you would need to make sure as far as hardware goes is obviously the internet service provider, your routers, and your switches. Now, for this office, we have physical phones. And those phones are for you a one-time cost. So if you do not currently have VoIP phones that allow me to connect the internet into your phone, then you would need to purchase phones. Now, I currently do not do leasing. I don't lease phones. I feel like that is currently not something that my client really wants. And ideally, budget wise, I'd rather you just purchase the phones outright. The phones are running about $180, $189 per phone. The phones are one-time costs. You would buy them directly from us. And Michelle, who is actually not on this call today, but she is our VoIP rep. So she works for CST. She is managing our VoIP division. And Michelle will be able to program the phones before they ever get delivered to you. So they will already be set up. So we would then port numbers and do all of that back end work for you. Okay. So phones are running about I'm going to say $189 per phone as a one-time purchase. The phones would then belong to you. Okay. If you fire us and you want to go to another provider, you already have the equipment to make that happen. Okay. Which is why I would encourage you to purchase and not lease. Okay. So phones ultimately are that one-time purchase. All right. Now, interesting, phones truly will come with a power. So you would have to plug an internet connection, and then you would plug them into a jack in the wall, a power in the wall. Now, if you have an appropriate switch, then sometimes those powers not needed. So we would need power over Ethernet, which means your switches would provide power to the phones. But please don't worry about any of this, because we would address it when I run an estimate for you. So I know most of you really don't care about how it all works on the back end, and I respect that, because you all do things that I don't necessarily understand either. But we would make sure that we purchased for you what you would need to ensure that they worked as they should. Okay. So ultimately, the only additional thing that I think most of you would need would be the physical phones. And if you wanted physical phones, I would talk to your staff, because honestly, I got some here that don't want the physical phone. They're perfectly okay with working with a desktop app. And I think the younger they are, the easier it is for them. So it's very much flexible for you. Okay, makes sense? I think I answered that question. If I didn't, please shoot me an email. Anything else, Jess or Sarah?
Yes, the last question we have is about finances. So they want to know if the bill will still come from us, if it'll be added into their current bill, or if it'll come from another company.
Okay, so interestingly enough, Jess handles our financials here. So if you are an existing client, Jess is the one that communicates with you, right? She's our finance. So ultimately, the bill will come from CST. But it will be separated from your regular recurring bill for your compliance, right? So for our services, that's a bill. So Jess would send you that every month, just like you get now. And then she will also send you, it will come from Jess. So thanks, Jess. She will also send you a VOIP bill. So they are separate bills, but both come from us. So you are hiring CST as your VOIP provider. It's us. So you'll get two separate bills. Okay. And it is based on ultimately how many phones you have. That's what the bills are generated by. Okay. And if you have any special features that you want that are not in our general package, we would do add-ons. So we do have the ability to add unique features. If for some reason you have a unique situation and want something special, we can quote that out. But for the most part, I'll just want your phones to ring. That's what you want. You want to be able to pick them up, put people on hold, and transfer. So this is a nice base package for you. Okay. All right, guys. Is there anything else that we have in the queue? No.
Nothing more.
Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. This is a 21-minute long, so we are giving you back some time in your day. Thank you so much for attending. We do appreciate you. Those are all of the contact information. Please reach out with your phone bill and your internet bill so I can evaluate some options for you. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. And you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.